Sometimes we don't have as many people in a time.
Oh, I know.
Rolling.
Ready?
Yep.
So I will call this Tuesday, July 25th, Board of Zoning Appeals meeting to order. Can we have a roll call, members, please?
Sure. Andy Bailey, absent. Grant Moeller,
Here.
Stacy Pettigo,
Here.
Scott Hetzmanberger,
Here.
and Chester Bankus.
Here.
Stitzel is not here. Present, and Cat Bell is present. Okay. So, disposition minutes next.
Is there any old minutes or old business?
Oh, no old business, but I
Okay.
need to, about our last meeting minutes from June 27th, 2023.
Are those out?
Send those out there.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd just like to make a motion to approve the minutes of the last meeting as presented to us.
I'll second it.
Do you want a roll call vote on that or just a voice?
Roll call vote, please.
Okay. Grant Moeller,
Yes.
Stacy Pettigo.
Yes.
Scott Hetzmanberger.
Yes.
And Chester Banks.
Yes.
All right,
Okay, is there any old business?
that's no old business.
No. Okay. You ready to go for the first public hearing?
I am.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm ready, but we'll roll.
So the first hearing is application CC-2023-00674, docket number 28-23-VA. Kat, will you take us through those, please?
Yes, so this is a variance request. The applicant's name is Samuel Gayosa, I believe is how you pronounce that. His variance request that he's asking for is to waive the standard in our UDO for 503.01 of the UDO, and that's when you have an agricultural piece of land that doesn't have a primary structure as a house. And it's not gonna be used for for agricultural purposes. Have to, what he wants to do is put an accessory structure on this property to use for storage. So in order to do that, he has to ask for this variance. The petition site is a vacant lot that consists of 1.2 acres, is zone A1, as I already mentioned. It's mostly surrounded by A1 agricultural zoning district, except for the west, which is R1 rural residential. The proposed accessory structure will not be utilized for agricultural practices, and there is not a dwelling on the site. Other than agricultural practices shall not be prior to a primary dwelling. The petitioner's purpose for the proposed accessory structure is he is planning to build a house on this lot in the near future. Regardless of what he builds in what order, if it is a non-agricultural structure, he must obtain approval from the Area Plan Commission for a one-lot minor before permitting. There is no current plan indicated by the petitioner to plumbing or any purpose of this at this time. But if he were to later request further review, would need to be done. So then you'll see a couple of photos there of the zoning area and the site itself. So the approval will not be injurious to the public health, safety, morals. If this application is approved, the petitioner will be granted a variance to waive the UDO standard 503 and will be permitted to construct does not have a primary dwelling. The proposed accessory structure will have to be built to meet the same regular setbacks as a primary structure. So typically when you have a dwelling on the property, if you put an accessory structure there, then you're usually your setbacks are gonna be 5 and 5. But in this case, because this would be not a primary structure there now, his setbacks are gonna be 20 from the rear and 15 from the side, because it would be the first structure on that property. The proposed accessory structure will have to be known to meet the setbacks and should not create any visual issue. The petition site did go before the drainage board on December 14th, 2020. And due to the board not having adequate information, received approval from the board. As for variance requests, the county surveyor requiring that a site plan that shows elevations be submitted and approved by him before approving the variance. Dan Sheets agrees that the location that is indicated for the accessory structure is, that is the most appropriate, which is gonna be rear, east corner of the lot. But is concerned that that may be the same location that could only. I do have an update with all this too. The petition site has farm ground adjacent to the rear of the property with a dwelling on each side and across the road from it. The parcel itself and all sides are zoned as agricultural except the adjacent west side, which is R1. Given the nature of the area is rural and agricultural, the proposed accessory structure should mesh well with this one. Besides the proposed structure or location will be back off the road from State Road 28 in the rear lot and would not be readily seen. If this request is approved, also has been in contact with Craig Carpenter with NDOT. They do not have any concerns with the application request. I've noted that the petitioner will need to have new gravel or put in, or possibly a new culvert. This will be part of the requirements for permit applications. Without the variance, the petitioner will not be able to build the accessory structure that he is in great need of for storing personal belongings. And until after he builds a house, due to recent changes that have occurred in his personal life that is requiring him to move the items. So the items are small items, but rather items that, the items are not small items, but rather items such as like a classic car, a horse carriage. Petitioner assured staff it is only a horse carriage and that no horses are going to be kept on the petition site. So consequently, because of Dan Sheets requiring the site plan with the elevations, staff was recommending to continue this case. Now today, Ron Weary has provided to Dan a site plan that he approves, but talking to the surveyor's office, they do have this property on their agenda for drainage board at their next meeting. Although Dan approves the site plan that was submitted to him, he still is not 100% sure and would like to have a little more time to look at it. So I'm still going to recommend that we continue, that it be continued for another month and let him go through that drainage board and then make sure that, as like I said, the concerns are that back corner being, what if it's the only corner that they can put the septic in? If he goes disturbing it, putting in an accessory structure, then maybe he's lost the only place that he can put septic, so.
Okay.
That's what I have.
Okay, thank you. Is the petitioner present?
Ron, I think is,
Sam's not here.
yeah, I think you're on behalf of him.
I can do that.
Would you mind going to the mic, sir? Thank you.
Ron Wary of Moses Surveying, stepping in for Sam being there. He called me last week to try to help out with that site plan, so I went out and saw that they've got a tile system through the area that has been kind of wet through that northwest corner there. And so that's what I submitted to Dan, and that's what he kind of thought, that it might be pretty much approvable then with that. And so he feels like, we feel like we can be able to get that septic system in there around wherever he needs to be. But that's what he wants to plan on doing, to get that garage first before he builds his house, because he needs to get that storage in there before the house gets built in, instead of waiting 4 months. And so that's what he's here for today, just to be able to do that.
Okay.
And also, yeah, he has to go through and do the one lot subdivision for this lot, so.
And he has asked me to do that for him. So
Okay.
I've got that prepared, ready to go for him.
Sounds good. Thank you.
We did have we had letters I sent to everyone today. The letters that we got today, I had another letter, last week here that, in the audience, that in regards to this, so didn't know. Them or.
Yep. Is there anybody else in the audience that'd like to say anything? Yep. Thank you.
I'm John Akerd. I live across the road from the site. We sent a letter about our concerns. That's the only concerns we have. Just want to hear what you got to say about it. Do I need to read my concerns?
If you'd like to.
I'll try. Okay, we're happy to welcome Mr. to the neighborhood, but we do have some questions concerning the accessory building to be built. What type of building will it be? In other words, could it be a shipping container? You know, there's all types of buildings. Will be something kind of nice and neat across from where we live, if people know where we live.
We do allow for shipping containers in our ordinance, but I don't know that
Well,
would be permitted.
that was an example.
Yeah, yeah.
And, of course, you answered the question, there will be a home built there in time. Is there a time limit?
As to when,
About 20 years from now? or-
well, he has to go through and get his one lot minor done first, so, I mean, we have to allow him the time to get that done, that completed. But then, once he gets it completed, yeah, he could build it whenever.
He could be 20 years building it or finishing it then.
Pardon
He
me?
could be 20 years building it or getting the house finished.
Oh,
There's no time limit on finishing it.
no, once he gets started, once he pulls his permit, typically they're covenants, because there will be a covenants that goes along with that. So typically, the covenants gives a timeline of when the house is supposed to be built.
What about?
His point is, I think, John, isn't your point that, is there a time period where he has to build the house after he builds his accessory building that he's not, he's asking a variance to be allowed to do? Because the cart is coming before the horse.
It's true, but how much time does he have to build a house if he starts building it? We got a house here in the county, you know, it's been years and not been built yet.
I thought you were worried about how long, whether he had to follow closely with building.
Well, in a sense, we are, yes.
And I think that's a good question.
Sure.
Now, as to the time period on building a house, your building permit is good for 6 months. You can renew it once, and then you have to apply again. You can,
Well, it's,
6 months, and then you
6
get one,
months. you get one, you get two,
One odd-
you get 2 3-month extensions.
okay. So it's basically a year, and after that, he would have to come back and get another building permit. Now, we've had people get more than 1 or 2 extensions.
We
but-
know that, yeah. So, he builds a storage building and we think it's an eyesore. Do we come back here before you guys to try to get something done about it? Can you
And
do anything about an eyesore?
as in, what do you mean as an eyesore?
Junk car, just trash?
Oh,
for example.
that would not be permitted. No, that's where you would contact our office, me specifically. And then, yeah, he would not be allowed to have outdoor storage with this. It all has to be contained inside.
What he does, that's, okay, that's good. I accept that.
As long as it's inside.
Okay.
Is there anybody else that'd like to add anything? Go ahead, sir.
Some more questions. Wayne Newcomer, so I live 2 houses to the west or 3 houses to the west. So I live right in that area, so that was part of my concern. Is this variance just for this particular gentleman, or if he were to sell the property, does it get passed on to the next one? And therefore, kind of the same concern, could this be extended indefinitely with just the storage building being out there and no home being built on the lot?
So typically, a variance, once it's granted, it's good for 12 months. And then if he doesn't act upon that within 12 months, then it could be.
Which means condemned, or what does that mean, expired?
No, if he doesn't put the
So,
building out.
okay.
Yeah, if he doesn't put the building out there in that 12-month period, then his variance could.
But then he could sell the property before he builds the home, and the next person that comes along, are there any restrictions for the next person?
Unless the board chose to make conditions.
It's my understanding the variance goes with the,
The variance
Stays.
would run with the land.
runs with the, unless we put,
And,
Conditions on.
and you could put conditions on that required the house to be built within a certain period of time. But the problem with that is, the enforcement side of that is what are we gonna do? We're gonna go, is the county gonna wanna get into litigation and have an order to tear the garage down because you didn't build the house? There's not a really very satisfactory resolution if you get if you're really concerned about the house not being built, because like I said, the cart's in front of the horse.
That's what I have no issue with, a house following, the typical, like you said, the normal ordinance. That's great. I have no problem with the neighbor moving in. But the concern definitely is to build this unit and then it just stops and disappears and then another family move in. So, and then the other concern I've got is that is a very wet lot. We see through the spring, there's standing water there often. I understand, it's trying to make its way through the property drainage situation, but living there, in my house, I'm a little bit, I guess I would say I'm a bit uphill, but I struggle with water all the time. I have 2 sump pumps in my crawl space, 2 dehumidifiers, and I'm in a much better spot than that lot is. So that's going to be a real challenge for somebody to even build on that lot. It's been for sale for quite a while, so I was concerned when somebody's building, and if they go about it backwards, then I'm concerned about what the finished product of everything's going to be. Thank you.
Yep. Is there anybody else that would like to add anything? Okay. You guys have anything to add?
well, can you, I don't know, maybe you guys understand it, but clarify for the board, I guess, in general. The agricultural part of this. So if he was choosing to build a pole barn to store farm equipment, would he be before this board?
No.
Okay.
Because it specifically states in our ordinance that
Yeah.
if it's not for farm practices.
Yeah.
Then, yeah. That's an exemption.
To me, that's kind of a key point in this, because any concerns that would be had wouldn't even be valid, assuming he was storing farm equipment in the building. Right? I mean, he doesn't have to build a house on the lot.
Not on that property then. in the county.
And did we hear what size we were talking this building would be?
Yes.
Is it a pole barn type structure, or is it,
Yes.
yes?
It is a 24.
So Jay, you would not recommend making a special exception to like for the time frame for it to be built?
Well, it wouldn't be a special exception, it would be a requirement.
Okay.
You could do that. I'm just saying that if he doesn't do it, I mean, we could fine him, and we could fine him, so, I mean, under the ordinance, I suppose we could fine him as much as $300 a day. But I don't think we're gonna want to get in the demolition business over it.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm not against necessarily having you adding a requirement that the house be constructed within a certain time frame. But I just want you to understand that it's, your remedy is somewhat limited. You could, it'd be penal in nature, not curative in nature, probably, because, but one of the things to consider is the reason why the ordinance that frowns upon putting on a auxiliary structure before the main structure is, what you're doing is you're then reducing the ability to put on what's the desired main structure. Is you've now, and with this lot, you're gonna have, you could very well end up being in a situation where the only good house site is where the accessory structure is.
Do you have any thoughts, Chester?
Well, I see that Dan wants to continue this until the next period of time, so he can do adequate work. Yeah, I know he's looked at it and the plot plan has been approved, but he also wants to, he can't say for certain that his board's gonna approve it. And I know there's a lot of concern about this site, so I think it'd be in the best interest to let them do their work
That's what I- yeah.
first. And we would continue this until they
That's what I would.
determine exactly what they want us to do with it. That would be my,
That was kind of what I was thinking.
okay.
Anybody want to make a motion to do?
I'd be glad to do that. Okay.
So
I
if
don't
it-
have those cheat sheets,
Let me
but,
ask another question.
okay, sure.
If he
Okay.
cannot, if he can't build a house on it, is he still gonna want the accessory structure there?
That'd be a viewpoint then about it.
I guess that would be another reason to possibly continue it, to see if he can get the approval to,
Well, especially if there's drainage issues and
yeah, drainage issues.
once that all
would
comes back,
prevent
that would
him.
be kind of my
Well,
thought.
I was open to working with him, but since he's not here, and we got these questions, I mean, I guess I would agree to continue as well for now.
Yeah.
So, I'd like to make a motion to approve, or to continue, excuse me, application CC-2023-00674, docket 28-23-BA, according to the findings of the staff report, which were incorporated in the motion by reference, and I don't think there's any other conditions at this point in time.
I'll second that. And then Roll call vote when you get a chance, please.
Grant Moeller,
Yes.
Stacy Pettigrew,
Yes.
Justin Moeller,
Yes.
and Chester Henry.
Yes.
All right, so we'll go and bring that back next month then. Ready for the next?
Yes, please.
Oh, yes, and anybody, when you're, the one that you're here for, if you're done, and you can go, or you can stay and join the party. Okay.
See you next week.
You ready, Kat?
I am.
Okay. So the next hearing is application CC-2023-00685, docket number 29-23-SE. Will you take us through the staff report, please?
Sure. So the applicant for this is David Moeller. The petition site consists of a 2-acre first split from a 262.43 acre parent tract on the west side of North County Road 200 West, between West County Road 550 North and West County Road 600 North in Section 8 of Owen Township. I'd like to build one non-farm dwelling on the proposed new lot. A point system was ran on mostly due to perimeter land use. The lot itself, it is crop land and pasture. Normally lots this size normally score. The proposed new lot is adjacent to a woodland, but appears to be mostly wetland, which is not permitted land that can be disturbed. Therefore, in order to build a house on this parcel, it would require being built outside of that woodland area. And then you can kind of see plans that were submitted where they photo I took from 200 West, you see that. So the petition site is farm ground that belongs to the petitioner's father. The petitioner is also involved with the farming practices on the site and the remaining farm ground around the proposed site. The proposed new lot will be a small one of the wooded lot that is adjacent to the west side. And there will be a small easement for access to the lot. Small size of the new lot and its location will be far rear southwest corner against the wooded lot. They will not increase the maneuvering that already takes place trying to get around the wooded area. Petition site is off of a paved road. Several farmland sites in the vicinity. In this site, so it does not appear a new house in this area will significantly affect the traffic flow and volume for the road surface. This location does not appear to have any will have any effect on it. With the proposed new lot going to be over 600 off of North County Road 200 West. Practices that take place. The primary mitigating circumstances is staff's understanding that the new home will be for the petitioner's son, who also is involved in it with the farming practices on the petition site. The woodland area adjacent to the proposed lot. Home site cannot be in the woodland. If the special exception is one single-family home would be permitted on the lot. If approved by the board, the lot will require APC approval for a one-lot minor subdivision. The health department has received a soil test report and inspects have confirmed septic viability. The perimeter drain outlet will be required. Petition site is mostly surrounded by farmland And with 3 other existing homes in the immediate vicinity, the new lot will be over 600 North County Road, 200 West. So property values should not be adversely affected. There are already 3 existing residences located in the vicinity. This proposed new home, along with these other 3 homes, are efficiently spread out and would not appear to harm the neighborhood. With at least 1 acre for the new lot, there definitely will be adequate area for off-street parking, which is so objective 2, policy 1 of the 2012 comprehensive plan states to minimize development on agricultural land. Owen Township future land comprehensive plan designates this township as primary. Proposed new lot is small, adjacent to and an extension off of a wooded lot, and will be a small, well spaced from other existing. Conforming to the comprehensive plan lot should not adversely affect this future plan of continued agricultural growth, use, and its comprehensive plan. So staff consequently recommends to approve the request for the 1 home. Minor subdivision approval will be necessary for the APC.
Okay, thank you. Is the petitioner here and like to say anything? Can you please go to the mic? Thank you.
David Moeller, and I don't really have anything to add unless anybody would have any questions.
Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to say anything? Okay. You guys have any thoughts or anything to add?
I mean, it seems pretty straightforward. It's a pretty clean one to approve the special exception. So I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve application number CC-2023-00685, docket 29-23-SE. According to the findings of the staff report, which are incorporated in the motion by reference, and I don't think there's any conditions on that one, right?
Nope. And I'll second that.
Okay.
And then a roll call vote when you get a chance, please.
Grant Muller,
Yes.
Stacy Pettigo,
Yes.
Scott Hessenberger,
Yes.
and Chester Bankus.
Yes.
All right, so you're through that process. Next is 1 lot minor subdivision. You'll be needing a registered land surveyor to help you through that.
Yep, thank you guys. So the next hearing is application CC-2023-00687, docket number 30-23-SE. Will you take us through the staff report, please?
Sure. Okay, so the applicant for this is Kodiak Kai and Christy Demgard. So the site consists of 5.17 acre first lot split from a 9.16 parent tract of land on the east side of South County Road 500 West, between West County Road 500 South and Interstate 65 in section 36 of the. For this parent tract, this is the last split that can occur for it. And if any further splits are made off of this parent tract, then rezoning would have to approved. When the original point system was ran on the petition site, an error and giving points to this lot were not applicably given due to the size of the lot. So I had actually given it 6 extra points that was not eligible for it because it's a bigger lot than 1 to 2 acres, so because of it being as staff was recently reviewing the point system, the error was found when corrected. It was determined that the petition site only scored 7 points, therefore requiring exception or approval from the BZA instead of being administratively approved. So you can kind of see the aerial there of the lot and how the shape of it is, and then a couple photos I tried to take because the way it's split up. So the first one is looking from 500 west, and then the second one is from 500 south. The petition site itself is in a configuration that would appear to make it difficult, along with the fact that there are 2 existing dwellings basically backed up in a corner that front. The petition site is accessed from a paved road that is well maintained, that serves 2 other dwellings in the immediate vicinity, so it does not appear a new dwelling significantly affect the traffic flow and volume or require road improvements. This location does not appear to have any a new dwelling on the petition site will have any effect on it. Also, due to the configuration of the lot, not real practical for agricultural practices. The primary mitigating circumstance is the difficult configuration of the lot, along with the 2 existing dwellings in the middle of it, so that the most practical use for the lot, despite being zoned A1. It is staff's understanding that the petitioner house for themselves. The special exception is granted one single family home will be permitted on the property if approved by the board. The lot will require APC approval for the health department states they do have a file, and that this lot is suitable for septic. A perimeter drain outlet will be required. Given the configuration of the petition site, and although it is located in A1 district, this is not practical for farming, and the best use is likely residential. There are 3 other dwellings in the vicinity, but the proposed new home, along with these 3 other homes, would not appear to harm. With excess of 5 acres for the new lot, there definitely is adequate. And objective 2, policy 120 of the 2012 plan states to minimize development on agriculture. Prairie Township future land use 68 through 69 and designates this area for primarily agriculture. This proposed new lot is not practical for farming because of its lot's configuration. This lot is residential. So staff recommends to approve this application with a minor subdivision approval will be necessary from the area plan commission.
Okay, thank you. Is the petitioner here and like to say anything?
I don't really have anything to say. Name's Kodiak. Just trying to get a small house out there.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to say anything? Okay,
Still planning on putting livestock out, if it's non-dwelling farmland, are livestock still allowed on the land?
It can be, yes. What's your name, ma'am?
Oh, Darla Harper, I'm sorry.
Okay. What was your last name?
Harper,
Harper?
'cause
Okay.
we, and that's what I'm saying, is livestock, I mean, how many would it be? 'Cause
Well,
The one side where we're on, it's, like just about 3 acres.
Yeah, so from there, from where they have any kind of, area for, livestock or what have you, it's gotta be at least 100 feet from home, and they could only be allowed so many. So it just depends on what type of animal they have, like if it's chickens, be able to have a few more than what they would, like goats or horses or something like that.
Okay, like a variety of,
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
so they could have like 10 different kind of animals,
Well, it,
livestock animals.
it's based on animal units. And that depends on, an animal unit is based on how much manure they generate.
I got it.
Okay, so like a cow is a lot higher rating than a chicken.
Yeah.
You know, so that is in our calculation, because what they would have to do is meet the setbacks for, depending on how many animals they had, whether they were be defined as confined feeding or not. My guess is they probably would be on this small
On
acreage.
this small lot, yeah, they can probably still have an area. And that doesn't matter if it's just a pasture area or an actual little barn or whatever they keep them in. That, whatever it is where those animals are kept, that has to be 100 feet from the nearest house, or from any house.
From any house, okay. It's just the one house is one, and then our house sits right all close to the, because it's existing already. That you got to go 100, 100, 100, it's just tight. It's very tight, based on where the homes are.
So
and
from
where-
the edge of, but from the edge of that confined feeding, where that, not from the edge of the lot itself, but from the edge of
Right.
your confined feeding to the edge of the house.
Right.
It has to be 100
Okay.
feet.
And what kind of structure would it be? What kind of home structure would it be? I mean, what is allowed? Is it
For their-
modulars,
For them
building
to
homes?
build a house,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So, yeah, it could be a modular if they, you know, it just depends on what they put into their covenants that they, because they're gonna have to go through and get a,
Right,
what you call a one-lot minor subdivision.
okay.
And it'll have covenants in there, and it's up to them how strict they go with that, but, so yeah, Clinton County would allow them to have a modular home.
But not a mobile
It just has to be on, not a mobile home, but
Okay.
a modular home, but it has to be on footer and foundation.
Footer and foundation.
Yeah, it has to, it can't be on wheels and all that still, but yeah.
What if if the wheel's taken off, can a mobile home go out there if it's off the wheels?
No.
It still cannot.
No.
Okay. I thought that, but I was just wanting to make sure. I had thought that, because a mobile home is a mobile home.
Yeah. we
Whether you
try
take the
to-
wheels
we try
off
to
or
keep
not.
Those in mobile home parks.
Right, and that's what I thought, based on when my brother was looking at some land in Clinton County. He had a mobile home,
The minimum house size is 800 square feet.
800 square foot, okay.
I imagine with them having 2 children, they're probably gonna want a little more room
Yeah.
than 800 square feet,
Yeah.
but, yeah.
All right, I think that's it. I think that's it for me.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anybody else in the audience that'd like to say anything or have any questions? And can you please state your name whenever you get up there? Hey, take your time.
I'm Deb Carroll. We are across the interstate there, 65. I'm just wondering, are there going to be new required fencing to be put up? Because we are on the interstate. And we all know that the fences out through there are not very well. So will there be required new fences to be put up?
New
So
fencing for what?
if they're going to have animals. Because they're just off of 65. I mean, we're in the ditch and we're on 65.
I mean, they have to keep them confined or whatever. So, I mean, I'm not gonna require that they put up fencing. I mean, they just have
So
to,
you're going to go off of the fencing that's there on Highway 65. That's not very good.
yeah.
Well,
That is not a very good thing because those animals can get
I don't
out
have
whatever
any
they are.
requirements to make them change out the fencing.
Okay, well, I don't want to see a big old wreck out in front of my house. Livestock out there. There's too many semis and too many wrecks out there on 65 in that spot, the way there is. And those fences are not good because I am on the other side of that and my fences are horrible. I mean, a cow could walk over the top of them.
And
Flat
I'm not
out.
sure who the fences even belong to. I mean, if they.
I'm
belong
gonna
to
say
the
probably
state,
the state.
Well, then I can't require the.
You know, but
state
I'm just
to-
saying, are they gonna be required to put fences inside of that?
You know, I mean, if, I've had reports before from other places in the county where people had livestock that got out and there wasn't anything I could do and about them, their livestock not being contained.
That's a big
I don't
concern
know
of
if
mine.
that's a sheriff thing or a state, I mean, if they get out on the interstate, if that would be a state police thing, but I don't have anything to enforce on them.
Kind of scary to me. And then there's gonna be running water and everything, new wells and stuff built out
Yeah.
through there, required.
Yeah, before they go and get their building permit, they're gonna have to provide us with their septic permit. Well, here's your permit. No, we gotta have a septic permit, we've gotta have energy code, site plan, all this stuff. Everything's gotta be in there. Driveway permit, all that.
I will say there will be no sharing of other driveways with other houses that are next to this, correct? They'll have their own driveways?
They should, yes.
Okay, just concerns.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else that would like to add anything?
Hey, my name's Michael Curl, live across the street. My only concern is when they're get ready to widen 65, add the 3 lanes, how is that going to affect the property there? I mean, you gotta look at that standpoint too. Because it's gonna be 6 lanes from Indianapolis all the way to Chicago.
Right.
So, and then building time, you gotta look at what the state's gonna be doing as well. Along with, I think they're running water from the Wabash along 65 to Boone County to supply them for water. Since Boone County's completely out of water to supply their business parks.
Well, at the moment, we don't have anything that's presented to us that this would affect that.
But that's something
But I mean, I don't.
somebody needs to look into if you're gonna be doing that, because that's gonna put you guys at, you know, closer to doing. But that's my only concern is, you know, the livestock, getting close to the road, they get them out, and somebody can see you guys. I've been on animal control calls out on 28, with animal control, and it's not good, but there was a semi that lost a sow out of the back of a semi-trailer one year. I got called and picked the house, nobody claimed it. So, I mean, you just gotta kind of worry about your surroundings like that, with all the crazy people driving nowadays. Like, fence roads aren't that good. Just, you know, double fencing.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wasn't gonna count on the state fence out there anyway, that wasn't on anyways. It was gone before we were even out there. So we're
ours is
actually gonna be
like,
running.
your guys' side too, I mean, I'm for it, I mean, but
I mean, we're gonna.
I'm just worried about
run a fence
everything
along that whole side.
and the kids getting out, you know,
Yeah.
just kinda, I'm more safety issue than, no, I mean, I'm all welcome to the house if you guys wanna move in. But, neighbors are neighbors, need help, let us know. Sure. Anybody else got anything?
Anybody else like to add anything? Okay, thank you.
Anybody up here?
No, I really.
I'm gonna make a motion, we, approve application CC 2023-00687, according to the findings of staff report, which were incorporated in the motion by reference.
I would second that.
Roll call vote when you get a chance, please.
Grant Mueller,
Yes.
Stacy Pettigo,
Yes.
Scott Hessenberger,
Yes.
and Chester Bacon.
Yes.
All right, so as of the last case, now you've got to go to land surveyor and have it on your one lot minor subdivision. All right.
Anybody want to make a motion to waive this filing deadline?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Can't remember, we have to, do I need to,
Yeah, we need
Yeah,
that,
we
yeah. Make a motion to waiver the filing deadline of 18 days for application CC 2023-00695, docket 3123 SE.
I'll second.
Who's second?
Scott?
Scott did.
And are we gonna do a voice or roll call?
Roll call, please.
Grant Moeller,
Yes.
Stacy Pettigo,
Yes.
Scott Hetzmanberger,
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the next hearing is application, CC 2023-00695, docket number 31-23-SE. Will you take us through the staff report, please?
Sure. Okay, so this is for the petitioner, John Metzger. The site of the request is zone A1 agricultural and located on the north side of West County Road, 700 North in Ross Township. The petition site is the location of the existing business for a cabinet shop that has been previously approved for a special exception. The use is a special exception use, meaning in order to expand, they need a special exception to expand a special exception. The petitioner desires to expand the current building for an office area that is currently in his father's home, and warehouse area so that they can be used for extra storage. The expansion will not be increasing the number of employees to more than they currently have either. So, if the BZA grants a special exception, in the photo, in the photo here, you'll see that I've got two things marked out here. So you got the commercial greenhouse, cabinet shop. The cabinet shop is what this is for, not back in October 2020. If the BZA grants the special exception to expand the special exception use, the existing cabinet shop will be permitted to build an expansion onto the current building in the A1 district, and the use will continue to perform. The applicant intends to meet all ordinance standards, building code requirements, and has filed for proposal with the state. The cabinet shop previously received a special exception on June 28, 2001, when the business endured its first expansion by adding onto the existing building. It has been on this site for a very long time, and no complaints have ever been received to staff. While the additional space is being added for an office and warehouse storage, the nature of the business is not changing. Furthermore, the expansion onto the rear of the property fell behind the greenhouse, and nothing new is going closer to the front of the property than the greenhouse sits. The existing building is building several trees that block the view of the cabinet shop. The site is surrounded by property that is owned by the petitioner or the cabinet shop. Neighborhood is a mix of agricultural and rural residential use. Proposed expansion will be a pole barn style that would continue to mesh with the rural area around. There is plenty of space for parking. Able to provide that required parking for all the buildings as far as staff is aware. So the comprehensive plan 2012 comprehensive plan, land use, goal 1, objective tool 2, says to encourage agribusiness, agritourism, farm-based businesses, and the cabinet shop is consistent with this objective. Proposed use is within the setting of agricultural uses, but does not interfere with the agricultural practices in the vicinity. Furthermore, a cabinet shop's main, which in its raw material is considered an agricultural product. It has been a long-standing Clinton County business of products to sell with the potential to serve residents and attract tourists. So, staff recommends to approve the special exception request in order for the petitioner to have an office and to increase their storage area.
Thank you. Would the petitioner like to add anything? Good?
I don't think so.
Okay.
The only thing is I'm Clinton Wolf, and John Metzger, him and I are 50-50 in the business.
Okay.
So, he was gonna be here, but he had other things that came up, so
Okay.
that's.
Okay. Thank you. You guys have anything to add?
No, it's pretty straightforward again too. It's,
Okay.
yep. So if you like, I'll be glad to give you a motion.
You didn't ask if Ron was gonna object or anything.
Well, he's here, but I think he was here for another one.
I could be here for any of it.
Have him survey our property.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion to approve application CC-2023-00695, docket 31-23-SE, according to the findings of the staff report, which were incorporated in the motion by reference.
And I'll second. And then roll call vote when you get a chance, please.
Grant Waller,
Yes.
Stacy Pettigo,
Yes.
Scott Hessenberger,
Yes.
and Chester Bacon.
Yes.
All right, so I guess then, once you get your state design release, everything through there, then come see us and we can start working on your plan.
We got the foundation.
Usually we'll go ahead and do a permit with the understanding that if something comes up.
Yeah.
So, okay. Good. All right. I don't have any new business. You guys have any new business?
Not that I know of.
Jay, do you have any new business?
Nope.
Okay.
So our next meeting will be August 22nd, 2023. And I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second. Oh.
Figure Stacy'd be yelling too for that.
Some good points were brought up tonight. Some of those with the
I thought
animals and stuff like that.
wood as an agricultural product was a stretch.
You like that?
No, I didn't like that. I can certainly, I had no problem with the vote or the decision, but to say it's an agricultural support industry.
Yeah, I was kind of laughing about that too as you were reading it.
No,
I'm like, that's a
we're-
stretch.
Kat, did you put
There's
that
a lot, we're putting a lot of lipstick on that.
Yeah, I'm like,
in? Did you put that in, Kat? Did you put that in, or did?
No, Liz kind of helped me
Liz
with that
was-
one. But I'm telling you what, we were all back and forth through that comp plan, and it's like we could not find anything that was.
well, I mean, all we need to say
Well,
is
you know,
it's already an existing business.
It doesn't have to be desperately in favor of the comp plan, but the way I think it should have been presented was that it's an industry that's currently exists with an agriculturally
Thank you.
based industry, i.e. the greenhouse, and therefore, and they work together, and it is an agricultural, it supports agriculture indirectly because it allows